In this presentation, we will generate, analyze, and print to a PDF a sales graph within QuickBooks Pro 2019. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info. Here we are on the Home tab. We currently have the Open Windows open. To open the Open Windows, you go to the View drop-down and select the Open Windows list. We're now going to make a graph, and QuickBooks does see a graph as a report, so we're going to find it in the same location that we find the reports in. We've got the reports up top. We can do it with a drop-down, as we have seen in other reports, going to the sales and then selecting the sales graph. For some reason, when we look at the graphs, it feels more right to me to use the report center, however. So I typically actually go to the report center when considering graphs, so I'm going to go to the report center. Possibly I just like to visually see the graph because I have visual representation in mind when looking for the graph. We are now in the Standard tab in the Report Center, and we're going to scroll down to the Sales section. Note that we are in the Standard view here. You could view it as a list, but again, this view gives us a little snapshot and it makes it really easy to see a graph. So if we're in the Sales item over here, we're in the Standards tab, and we just scroll down until we start seeing graphs. Then we could find the sales graph here. Once we're on the sales graph, I typically just generate the graph and then edit it from there. So here's the graph. I'm going to maximize the screen by selecting this icon. And it doesn't look like much now, and why not? Because we don't change the date. We haven't changed the dates. So just remember, it's always, if something doesn't look quite right, first thing to check, is it a date thing? Yeah, it's probably the dates are having an issue here. So what we're going to do is go to the dates up top. And we will change the dates from the period that we have, 01/01/19, 02/28/19, the 2-month time period that we will look through, and we'll say OK. And now we have our graph. Graphs like this are very useful. However, it's important to note what it means when we give it to someone, because it is quite possible that someone might question something about the graph. So we want to have an idea, okay, what does this graph mean, and possibly have the backup data, the backup reports related to it. So note, of course, we have the dates here, and we've got by item or by customer. So what does that mean? By item means we have the sale by the items that we have. And items are going to be either inventory items or they're going to be sales items. What do we do? What do we do in order to generate revenue? If we sell stuff, then it's going to be those are going to be listed here. And that, in our case, guitars. So the Steinberger style solid body is a type of guitar. The Epiphone, the Gibson USA are types of guitars. So these are going to be the inventory we have. If we don't sell guitars and we do service company stuff, such as guitar lessons up here, those are going to be the type of items we have. Now, what we're talking about is sales. Sales, of course, represents the income statement account or the profit and loss account, a profit and loss account. So we can see that if we go to the reports up top, and we go to the company and financial, we're going to open up a profit and loss just to see how this graph ties into the normal financial statements. And remember, the balance sheet and the profit and loss, the income statement, are going to be the normal financial statements. Most everything else we create is some kind of variation on the data within those standard financial statements. They're given more detail. So we're going to go into the profit and loss standard and change the dates to the same range we have, which is 01/01/19, 02/28/19, January 1st, 2019 to February 28th, 2019. And we see here that we have total sales of $19,275.40. It only broken out by either merchandising sales, rent, or service. So it doesn't give us any more detail than that, like what type of guitar did we sell? What type of service was it? How do we get that more detail? We break it out by item. And that's what's happening here. So if we go back to our graph then, we then see this is going to be the 18,775. And we can see there that we have a difference. We have a bit of a difference. So let's look what that difference is. Because here on our report, so this is going to be, we want to make sure we know this before going into the presentation here, because someone's going to say, hey, there's a difference between this number that our sales are different. Let's see what that difference is. 18,775.4 minus what we have on the profit and loss. So it's in the open windows, back to the profit and loss. So it's kind of quick. Sorry about the quick move there. We're going to go minus the 19,275.4, which is total income. And we're $500 different. So if we go into here, I'm going to double click on this item, merchandise sales, and we'll see down here, most of this is invoices and sales receipts. And then we have this journal entry, and that's an adjusting journal entry. So this was done, this is a year-end adjustment. And so we'll talk more about why that happened, what this year-end adjustment is. But in essence, we can say, hey, that's the adjusting department with their year-end adjustment, and they did something there. We're going to trust them that it's okay. But that's what the difference is in these two items. And so it's okay. So we got the $500, I'm going to close that out. So we got the $500 difference, but in essence, this $19,275 is what's being shown here in the sales graph. And we'll talk about how that difference happens. Like, how does QuickBooks let us have that difference? Why does that difference arrive? And it's because we were able to put something to revenue without selecting an item with a journal entry. So we'll talk more about how that can happen in the future, and that might give us some ideas how to fix problems like that, because that could cause some issues. So here we have the total here. Now we can break out by the most used in terms of percentage of the total. So the 23.97% goes to rent music equipment. So that's going to be our highest item that we have here, which of course reflects the highest item on the graph in terms of the color coding. So this is called the key over here, and the key ties in to the pie chart. So just remember, whenever you're looking at a pie chart also, it has to be some sum of the total. That's what a pie chart is. So the total here, of course, is total revenue broken out by items, things we sell, either service items or inventory items. Now we could break this out a different way, because sales could also be broken out by customer. So if we go to the second tab here, we break it out by customer, we get that same 18,775. So we had items 18,775, customers 18,775, but now it's going to be broken out by our customer, who we sell to, who bought the stuff. So here, of course, we'd say that the music stuff stores and then Lynn Jackson, those are going to be our best customers. And so we want to make sure that we're taking care of those customers. And so that's another way that we could see this. Would be a good visual way that we could see this. By rep would be another item. We're not going to use that here. And then, of course, we have the print and the refresh. Now, how could you use this information is often kind of a question. What are we going to do with this information? Clearly, we can print it here. What if you want to put it into a PDF file or something like that, or a PowerPoint? One way, kind of an easy way to do it is just to screenshot. So let me show you that, because that could be useful to just a quick way to get this information to some other screen. So we'll open up a PowerPoint. You can do this in Word as well, pretty much, because it'll have the same kind of feature. So you'll go into a PowerPoint presentation, and let's say I want that there. I'm just going to make sure it's behind it. So the screen I'm looking at is right behind it. And then I'm going to go to Insert, and then I usually go to Screenshot. And then I'll have a screen clip, and I could take the whole screen here, but I'd rather take a screen clipping and then just take what I want. And I'm not going to do the whole thing. What I'm going to do is the key separately. So all I want is the graph here. So I'm going to say, let's take the graph. And so we'll copy the graph, and then I can move the graph around. And then maybe I want the key somewhere else. So I'll do the same thing, go to Insert, Screenshot, and then screenshot the key, and then go over here and just pick up just the key, and we'll have that there. So that's probably the easiest way that we can then put this into a presentation and manipulate this data around. And if we don't want, we may not want this sales item there, because maybe I want to put that in a different way. Maybe we don't want the sales item up top. We can always crop it out of there. So we can go to the format up top. We can crop it, and then just say I don't want that, and we can make this different, and then we can pull this in, and we can change the size of it now and do whatever we want to it and make it look a little bit nicer. Why wouldn't we want that? Because then we can add a text ourselves. We can insert whatever text we want into the data, and you can add it with just a text box, or you can add it with some like word art, and then you could put sales graph up here. So just a couple ideas how can we use this data? How can we get this data somewhere and use that data? So that's going to be this item. Now we're going to go ahead and save some of this information as we go. Notice we can't really export this to Excel. We could try to take this data and recreate it in Excel. That would be one thing we can do, but we can't really export it like we could. We can still save it as a PDF file by going to print up top, and it doesn't give us that PDF from the print section here. Note, we could try to save as a PDF over here, but if we have that cute PDF printer option, then we can always use that. So I would always default to that, always have that option. And then if it doesn't have a PDF save as a PDF option, we can always just print it to a PDF. We're going to go ahead and do that now. And so I'm going to save this. I'm going to put this on the desktop this time. We're going to put it into the Get Great Guitars. So we're going to go to Get Great Guitars. We're going to go to Reports. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it Section 4, because that's very creative. And put it into Section 4, and we're going to call this graph a sales by customer. And I'm not going to put a date on it. We might want a date and whatnot in real time, but I'm just going to save it just to get an idea of how we can group these. And as we do this going through the section, we'll sort this information. So we'll save it there. And then we're also going to go to the item, print it, and then we're going to go print, and we will save this one as a PDF as well, and we'll say this is our sales by item, and save that information. So we have it on a PDF file here, and where we can save as a PDF file. Gonna put that on the desktop as well. Get Great Guitars, Reports. We're gonna go to Section 4, and I'm just gonna call it Section 4 PowerPoint. And so there's just the 3 ways we can kind of save that data as we go. For more accounting information and accounting courses, visit our website at accountinginstruction.info.